Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dudes and dudettes, folks, and I don't know, I guess folks works for everybody, but how you doing? Welcome back to 4 Strategy Gaming, and I am back in action, back in black, back in the saddle, and back to casting. I don't know what's up with me right now, but anyways, we got a game today between Morrow and Naama. This is a Zerg vs. Terran here on Lost Temple. Should be an exciting matchup. Let's talk about some things that take place on this map. Oh, Xel'Naga tower right here. This is going to be important to have, of course, because it's going to show either player when a push is coming. Let's talk about the expansions, natural expansion right outside of each player's base, but also with this natural expansion we have this high ground right here, and I've talked about this before and it's been talked about in many games, how abusable this high ground is by Terran. In fact, some people say that if you spawn as Terran on Lost Temple, that you win the game against a Zerg opponent. That seems a little bit extreme, but you definitely have a huge advantage in getting siege tanks up here on this high ground. If you manage to do so, you're definitely going to be in a really good spot. Basically, what your opponent has to do is get vision and try to use roaches, but if you put your tank back far enough, he won't be able to reach that. But the other thing to consider about that as well is if you put your tank back too far, it's not going to be able to fully hit the hatchery. So there's definitely many different dynamics to it, but definitely pay attention to that high ground as Zerg if you have a Terran opponent on this map. Now, let's take a look at both players' base. Of course, nothing too exciting going on quite yet. Morrow hasn't done much of anything. Probably going to be fast expanding. Oh no, 14 pool is going to be going down right there. Right about there. No, it's not. So we're going to be seeing a 15 expansion or 14 expansion. Which one is he going for? Going for a 14 hatchery right as expansion there. So no pool. I lied. Now I'm over here coming out with that first barracks. Very standard, obviously. Nothing too fancy going on yet for him. We're going to see exactly what he intends on doing. He's not going to be going for a 2 racks push. We can tell that because of his early refinery. So no early marine and bunker pressure, at least not to the full effectiveness of a 2 racks push from Naama. Now over here back in Morrow's base again, nothing too thrilling going on. Now, shorter games tend to be the case here on this particular, actually, let me lower this time there. Shorter games tend to be the case here in this particular matchup with these positions. Now, these positions, of course, you can see the short run distance between the two. I've said this in lots of games before. It tends to make for really early aggressive play because of that short distance between the two bases. And, okay, factory going down right now for Naama. So opening up with that barracks into factory. Again, not going for that double barracks. Not even going for a barracks heavy build right from the get-go. So yeah, just going to be teching up as of the moment. And second refinery being dropped down right there as well. So we can expect a starport after this factory. Getting that second refinery tends to lead us to believe that he's going for some high. Oh, and no, canceling the second refinery. So that was some great trickery there by Naama. Let's take a look at Morrow Vision and hop right into Naama's base, and you see that he expects that second refinery. So what does Morrow expect? Morrow expects a very techy build, and he may be preparing for the possibility of banshees or any sorts of things related to that, but no, canceling that refinery and instead going to be going for a more mineral heavy build. You can tell here again, obviously that second refinery lacking that means he's going to have more minerals in his pocket, and with that he's going to be able to get more early game mineral units. So maybe coming out with some marines. We are seeing this Hellion come out. That's going to be pushing out very shortly. Also going to be getting this bunker right now. And over here in Morrow's base, we are seeing that spine crawler go down, so that's going to help with that early Hellion push. And then what else are we seeing? Nothing else, just going to be pretty much macroing up. We can see that queen coming out right over here. Another queen down there as well, so definitely wants 2 queens, 1 for each hatchery at the very least. And yeah, going to be blocking the ramp here to the best of his ability to stop any sort of a Hellion push. And here we go, Hellion push coming out right now for Naama. Going to be moving in and getting poked at least once. No, manages to get away just in time. You can see that spine crawler did a nice about face though, preparing to attack the Hellion, but the Hellion managed to move out just in the nick of time. And here we go, Tech Lab coming down and canceling that Banshee, choosing instead to go for a Viking. We're going to be seeing some Overlord hunting. Probably first and foremost going to be getting rid of this Overlord right here, and hopefully if he's able to spot that one too, that's going to be easy pickings as well. So going to be seeing some Overlord hunting from Mana. Not much else going on though. Again, that Hellion's going to be chilling out here, and he's pretty much going to be able to safely be able to stay there until he sees a push coming, at which point he'll be able to retreat. Now, obviously, again, with the spine crawler placement and this queen right here, that Hellion's not going to be getting very far and doing much of anything to Morrow's base. Now, we can see Morrow here teching up right now, getting that layer coming out. Also, here comes that metabolic boost. Obviously, 2 very important things to have in this game as Zerg. Viking going to be moseying on over to kill his Overlord here. Man, it's been a long ass day. I actually just got out of the past 3 hours, been doing lessons back to back to back. In fact, after this cast, I've got another lesson to do, and then I'll be hopefully playing some games, and then it'll be time for bed. But enough about me. Let's talk about the game. Expansion coming down right now for Naama. Also going to be getting this bunker down here to defend his early base. So not a lot of early aggression from either player. Again, ooh, look at this. Again, utilizing that high ground. You can see that Viking sitting down here is going to stop mining from this half. Now what we're going to see Morrow do is pull the spine crawl over and then get vision of the high ground with an overlord. But guess what's going to happen? The second this overlord gets anywhere close, we're going to see this Viking lift up. Go on, Viking. Lift on up. And then he's going to be attacking the overlord. I would imagine so, of course. And no, deciding to retreat instead. He didn't want to get attacked by that queen. We can see these additional spine crawlers being placed down. That queen's just chilling out right there. Probably going to be injecting larva right now. Come on, queen, do it. Any time spent. There we go. So finally injecting larva. We're seeing a nice spread of creep over here from Morrow as well. Going to be trying to get as much vision as possible and try to push out that creep as far as he possibly can. Now here we go. Banshee going to be moving forward, and this is going to be a little bit problematic for Morrow. Lots of spine crawlers. Spine crawlers do nothing to Banshees, of course. Going to be moving now, trying to take out that queen, but no second queen coming forward, and it's going to force this Banshee to pull back. This Banshee, of course, does not have cloak, and cloak is not on the way, so going to have to pull back before he loses his life. Probably going to go back home and get a nice little repair job from this SCV here. Now seeing at this expansion that Orbital Command is going to be coming out, not deciding to go with that Planetary Fortress. And now that Mana does have this expansion, we are probably... Naama, I just called him Mana. We are probably going to be seeing some additional buildings. Not probably, most certainly we're going to be seeing some additional production buildings. He can probably afford at least 2 to 3 more, so we should be seeing those sometime in the near future as soon as he has the resources to do so. Nothing coming out much for him right now as well. We do have a Thor. Okay, so that's not nothing. Thor's coming out. I wonder if we're going to be seeing a medevac as well. Nice little Thor drop right on this edge. Could do quite a number to Morrow's expansion. Now over here for Morrow, look at this. We do have some... no, those aren't Mutalisk. Whew, long day. I said that already, right? We do have some Mutalisk coming out right now for Morrow, so that's exciting. Going to be trying to do some harassment. Now, he's going to have a little bit of trouble with that Thor. If he can magic box, though, he should do okay against it. Also, of course, keep in mind that Marines do very, very well against Mutalisk, so that's something else that he does have to worry about. But no siege tanks at the moment. One's going to be coming out right now, and probably seeing siege tech shortly as well. One will be coming out after the supply block. I'm going to remedy the last thing I just said. So one's going to be coming out after the supply block. Also have a few more things coming out. Nice little Raven over here. So we are seeing a nice healthy mix here from Naama when it comes to actual units. Mutalisk going to be moving in, and now at this point, Naama is fully aware of the fact that Mutalisks are on the board, so luckily he's feeling pretty safe with that Thor and all of those Marines. Nice little rally of forces over here. Morrow's also going to be transplanting his spine crawlers, putting a little frontal defense here, allowing a little buffer for his expansion, trying to defend up here as opposed to defending right in front of his expansion. Now, the point of these Mutalisks here, what are they going to be trying to do? Well, they're going to be trying to fly around Naama's base and poke off where the units aren't. So wherever Naama's units are, his Mutalisk wants to be someplace other than that, and trying to do damage basically where Naama does not have defenses. But nice missile turret placement here is going to make things a little bit easier here for Naama. Absolutely. Great placement there. Also come down with another barracks, but canceling it, no, deciding to place it over here instead. That was unfortunate. Lost a little bit of resources there. When you cancel those buildings, you do lose a little bit, so try to avoid canceling if at all possible. Going to be trying to push forward. Also going to encounter these spine crawlers when he does. Lots of Zerglings and a few Mutalisks going to be hanging out right there. They want to get us around, but no, instead going up to the siege tank, taking out the siege tank first, but look at this massive units, these Marines and that Thor just doing a number there on those Mutalisks. Also, of course, that Raven dropping down that turret there, doing a pretty decent job of doing some damage to those as well. We do have a couple Banelings being morphed in, or they're already here, so those should definitely help against the Marines. It's all going to be about positioning and trying to get those Marines to get smacked right in the face with those Banelings. Not sure if he's going to be able to do that, though. Spreading some creep over here, trying to prevent Naama from adding an additional expansion right over there. Like I've said in many games, it's hard to expand beyond your natural on these particular positions in these 4-player maps because that third base is always very difficult to take, and expanding on this half of the map is very, very dangerous. Mutalisks trying to get in position. Again, these spine crawlers doing a good job of keeping Naama's units at bay. We are seeing a missile turret go down on the outer edge of Naama's base, trying to bolster this position right here. Also, here we go. Now going to be pushing forward with this Banshee, using the siege tank to try to do as much damage as possible. Mutalisks is going to be flying in, but going to be taking a smack from that Thor there and forced to pull back. And did they know they did not manage to kill the Banshee, so the Banshee is still alive, and this is going to force all of these defenses from Morrow to pull back. And do we still have that Raven up? Yes, we do, so that should do a good job of allowing him to take out these creep tumors without having to waste scans on that. Nothing else going on in the minimap. Still both players just producing. We are seeing a bunch of Banelings being morphed in. Some more units coming out as well for Naama. So Naama's going to be producing more. He's also coming out with a medevac right now and continuing to push forward, basically moving his siege tank forward just far enough to get vision here and take out these spine crawlers. And that's exactly what he wants to do. He doesn't want to have to encounter the spine crawlers if not necessary. Zergling's trying to push forward and do some damage, but not going to do quite enough. Getting shelled by that tank right there, and also those Marines and Marauders moving forward to take out that spine crawler. One last spine crawler going to be dropped very quickly here, but no Marines deciding to pull back a little bit. They're just out of the range of that siege tank. So we can see here Naama doing a nice little forward position. Now this is exactly, honestly, what Morrow wants. Morrow's kind of got Naama in this position where he's not really he's trying to push out right now, but he's not safely pushed out. Mutalisk moving in, want to be a little bit careful of those Marines, but the thing is that Naama is allowed right now, or Morrow is allowed right now, to get up that expansion, and so that's exactly what he wants to do. He wants to keep Naama contained and then try to expand. But look at all of these Zerglings and Banelings. This could be a problem. Scan going down. Zergling's going to be pulling forward. Banelings getting a nice surround. Zerglings surrounding all of the siege tanks right there, taking them out very quickly. Banelings moving into the Marines, dropping them immediately, and the Mutalists do have to pull back, but no, not anymore. There is no more anti-air threat. Most of those Marines are dropped. Zergling's going to try to get another surround, but this siege tank on the high ground making quick work of those units. Now mopping up those Zerglings, but the missile turret is going to force these Mutalists to pull back. So really nice little engagement between both players. It was about even as far as trade-off here. Morrow did manage to keep most of his Mutalists alive. Now Naama did lose a lot, but that siege tank right on the high ground was very, very beneficial for him for taking out those Banelings as well as those Mutalists. Now at this point, all of this action, while all this has been taking place, Morrow has been able to get up an expansion, and that's exactly, again, what he's trying to do. He's trying to force Naama to sit inside of his base, or at least not push out and not get any additional expansions. You can see we are getting upgrades. We are getting additional units here for Naama, and in Morrow's base as well. Same thing going on. Getting some. Yeah, boy, my God, I tell you, it's been a really rough day. Getting some upgrades there. Now, Marine's going to be pulling forward and trying to take out as many Banelings as possible. Going to be forced to pull back. Stimpak allowing them to pull back with that extra speed. They don't have to worry about getting overrun by those Banelings. Do we have Baneling speed up right now? I wasn't sure if they were rolling. They were. So they are roly-poly-oly Banelings. A little transfer over here to going down. A little bit of workers going to be brought over to Morrow's expansion over here. And this is kind of tough right now. We're going to see a little strong push right here. And if Naama can manage to break Morrow, it's going to be a good game for him. But if Morrow can stop this push, he's going to be in a really good position with that third base. That is, again, what Naama lacks. Now, Naama is, of course, trying to slowly creep forward to try to take this high yield if at all possible. Stim going down, taking out a few of these Zerglings. Pretty much no problem. Not much of an issue there. Baneling's forced to pull back. Again, what they want to do is get us around. But a nice spread of the units here, allowing him to cover multiple angles. You can see this is a free kill right there, but that Marauder did manage to sneak back into the proper position. Marauder's pulling forward, trying to lure out some units, trying to take out that queen if at all possible. Surround going down. Baneling's rolling in as well. Mutalisk going to be pushing in. Stimpak Marines pulling back, trying to do as much damage as possible, staying away from those Banelings. Great job. Lots of Mutalists still alive, though. So lots of Mutalists right now for Morrow still alive, and that could obviously be a problem for Naama, but Naama is being resilient. He is deciding to continue to pull forward and going to rely on Marine Micro to stay away from Banelings. Lots of Zerglings pulling forward, but those siege tanks going to make quick work of that, doing a little bit of damage to the Marines as well. Nice little split of those Marines. Mutalisk moving forward, taking out that Thor, no problem. Baneling's going to be forced to pull back right now because of these siege tanks, and we still have a bunch of Marines alive, so the Marine being the hero unit in here with that backup of the siege tank. There is no longer a Thor. That did get magic boxed and taken down by Morrow. He definitely did an excellent job there. Baneling's going to try to roll forward. Again, he just has to worry about the Marine Micro staying back, and with proper Micro, he can do that, no problem. Pulling back the Marines there, you see Mutalisk going to be trying to move forward, but no, too much Marine fire. Missile turret fire going down as well, losing a lot of those Mutalists, and that was a bit too much of a loss there for Morrow. I don't know if he could. I think that was a bad engagement. He did not want to pull forward right there. I know he couldn't do too much because Naama was creeping forward and being very threatening, but not much of a choice right now. That slow push from Naama proving to be very effective. We've got a nice row of siege tanks right here. It's going to make reinforcements for Morrow very difficult from this base over here. Any reinforcements that pass by are going to have to deal with those siege tanks, and taking out that expansion, that was huge. You can see even though he was a little bit mined out, losing that extra Vespian there, that's a pretty big deal. Going to be taking out these destructible rocks also and trying to get this additional expansion up. He definitely needs it by this point. He's probably almost mined out at the main. Yes, he is. Over here, some reinforcements coming down for Morrow, but they're going to have to contend again with these tanks. And this slow push, man, from Naama, very impressive, very good job. I mean, Naama's base has not been touched in quite some time because of this slow, threatening push. Morrow has been forced to try to engage it and try to push it back, but he has not been able to do so successfully. Scan going down, taking down some creep tumors, no problem. Lots of siege tanks here for Naama, and it's just too much for Morrow to handle this push. And this Marine micro staying away from those Banelings. You know, Banelings are the answer to Marines, supposedly, but with proper micro, it's very difficult for you to get your Banelings up on those Marines, and obviously the Marines do quite a number on these Mutalisks. It's not much of an issue there. Lots of damage going down for this base. I'm not sure. I think at this point it's pretty much over. I mean, there's really not, I don't see much in the way of a response from Morrow right now. He's not doing a whole lot coming up with another Spire because he is worried he's about to lose this one. And the main issue really is that Naama's base has just not been touched in quite some time. Even with these expansions, that slow push being so threatening for Morrow, and Morrow not responding at all by trying to attack Naama's economy, trying to hit his base. Those missile turrets pretty much were too much of a deterrent for him. And, I mean, I'm not sure why there hasn't been a GG yet. It's obviously the end of the game right now. So good job between both players. Just a really strong push, again, from Naama, and it was just too much for Morrow to handle. Morrow's going to attempt to play off the second base. Now, this game did come from the Intel Extreme Master, so, you know, money is on the line. So I would imagine that's why Morrow hasn't given up at this point. But the truth is that the game's over. He's just too far behind right now, losing that main base and losing most of his buildings there with that. Trying to get up the second expansion, he's just too far behind. You can see that economy very low as far as units are concerned. Doesn't have too many. He's got a few Banelings on the board, a couple Mutalisks, but not enough to deal with this death ball here from Naama. Scan going down, although I'm not really sure why, because he does have this Raven here. That was a little unnecessary. Doesn't need the scan with the Raven flying around with his army, but whatever, to each his own. He didn't feel like using a mule, and he wanted to scan. So going to be rolling around looking for these expansions, moving some Marines and a Marauder forward to just test the waters here and destroy all of those Banelings. That could help us a bit as well. Choosing not to micro those and just trying to trigger that Baneling fire and set it off so that those Banelings don't roll into the real army of Marine, the real big group over here, and pushing forward. And this is it. Just too little. Morrow was way too far behind. Gonna be trying to pull back to pick off some of these air units, but no, not gonna happen. Those Marines being very, very protective of their air units, chilling out in the back there. Nice little Thor here doing a bunch of damage to those Mutalisks as well. Not much of an issue. Banelings trying to roll forward, but they're going to be rolling into stim-packed Marauders, and that is not what they want to roll into, because that is not what they're effective against. Siege Tank's going to be going up again as well, pushing forward. And, I mean, good on Morrow for sticking with it, for not giving up till the very end. But this game has been over for quite some time. So great job between both players. As I said earlier, the real issue in this matchup right here was the fact that the slow push took place. You can see the turrets, the remnants of the push still here. This slow push took place from Naama. Very threatening to Morrow's main base, so it forced him to try to defend against it, to try to stay here and protect his base from being pushed against, and that's what prevented him from moving into Naama's base. So if you're a Terran player and Mutalisks have been giving you a tough time, try a slow push, because a slow push can be threatening enough. If you're at a close position, like on this map and in these positions, it can be threatening enough to stop Mutalisks from running into your base. And yeah, that's basically it. It's a really great job between both players. So once again, guys, this has been Force from Force Strategy Gaming. Hopefully you enjoyed this game. If you guys like our videos here, make sure you subscribe. Sorry for being a little bit loopy today. Just had a lot of stuff going on, and I still got a lot more work to do before I go to bed. Anyways, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and keep watching and keep owning.